Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we discuss the issue with sourced bourbon and single barrels competing in national award competitions. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Darren McElroy, Katie Joyce, and Tony Friend.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Howdy.
Hey, guys.
Hey, we're going to be talking about competitions. We are just kind of finishing up the big competition season. There's certainly some more going on, but kind of the big ones are out of the way at this point for 2023. And we'll get a take of this group of what they think about source brands as well as single barrels competing for some of these awards. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, Darren said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Darren?
Okay, so I'm not even using my sheet of paper. I'm coming up with this on the spot because competitions. So what competition could you participate in and do the best out of, let's say, everyone in the ABV network? What's something that you really good at?
Okay, this is good.
That's a great little question.
I feel like if we had the ABV network crew, and that could be the people on here, it could be fans, the people that are really involved, and we did like the TV show Big Brother, I feel like I could win that thing because I know the game, I know the strategy. It's not a super physical game like Survivor. Like we'll do a Survivor, I'd lose at that. I couldn't do I'm too old to do the physical stuff. Too fat. I couldn't do any of that. But Big Brother's not like that. I mean, you're basically just living in a house for
game of wits.
For a couple months. So I can live in a house. Yes, I feel like that's a competition I could do.
I could see you doing fantastic on Big Brother.
Yeah, see? Yeah. That's the one for me. How about you, Tony? What competition?
For me, it would probably have to be something to do with computers.
Okay, there you go.
I think it'd be kind of nerdy, but I could probably win an Excel competition.
Excel competition?
I play in Excel all day.
The Excel Invitational.
I love it.
I tell you what, you'd beat me. I'll give you that. Yeah, you'd beat.
I get called on to fix everyone's thing in Excel at work.
That is a talent.
It is a talent.
I like it.
Now that I know that you're so good at it too, Tony,
yes.
you're going to be getting a phone call.
Well, now I use ChatGPT to do all my work.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Why not, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's the pivot table king at work. So, yeah. All right. Very good. Very good. Katie, competition?
So my first thought was something maybe with shot put because that's what I threw in high school.
Okay.
But then I realized that's been a lot of years and that's probably not a good choice anymore. So I realized anything flying probably because I have a pilot's license. So there you go.
Flying.
Cheater.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I guess I would beat you all in flying because no one else has a fucking license.
We'll do a short takeoff and landing competition and I'll be the one to not crash the airplane. Yeah. So there we go.
The only one still alive.
I have taken off in an airplane and I have flown one.
Hey, there you go.
Oh. There you go.
I've never landed.
Right. Yeah. I think kind
Katie
of
an important part of
Katie
flight.
would win. Yeah, sort of the most important
I think
part.
Katie would win. That's
There's
all about
a reason
what
why I got to do the unimportant parts.
Becca, what competition could you win?
This is easy.
Yeah.
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Miss Beka Sue, it turns out fear is not a factor for you.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I could eat all that stuff.
You don't have any weird phobias that could come into play? Because they do a
for
little bit
sure.
of like height and bugs, like laying in bugs or snakes,
No.
or you never know what it's going to be. They're trying to get you.
I know. And I've literally, at one point, I just forced Royce to watch, like, there's a Fear Factor channel on TV. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
On
Channel.
Samsung TV, they just have, it's just the Fear Factor channel, and it's just Fear Factor playing every hour.
Is there that
the
many
day.
of them? Is there
Yeah,
that?
there's a ton of them. And so it's just
Is
Fear
it always
Factor
Joe
playing-
Rogan, or did it go beyond
Always
him?
Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And it's all of them. And I just had that playing for like a week straight. I just never changed the channel until Royce was like, I can't handle this anymore. Because it was like giving him anxiety. He's like, this stuff is just like so horrible. But I was watching it and I was like a lot of that stuff is like really fucking gross. But a lot of the things I've done have been gross up until the point someone dares me to do it. So like there's a lot, like I'm not just like eating bugs for fun. Like if someone is like, I dare you, or I bet you wouldn't do that, I'm gonna do it if someone says, I bet you can't do that. Like I can eat something or chug something if someone tells me that they bet that I can't do it, or they make it like a joke out of it. The being like covered in bugs, like tarantulas, like snakes, rats, that's fine.
Yeah, of course, that's fine. Yeah, no big,
It is like
no big deal.
like being like the only one that I think I maybe wouldn't be like that I'd be a little bit nervous about is the being underwater for a long time ones, but they give you a nose plug, and so then I wouldn't be as I still like water up my nose, and they
Right.
let you wear a nose plug, so that kind of makes it not that scary. The heights one, you're tied off,
Bull
so that's not
testicles.
scary.
Bull testicles.
Easy.
Ah,
But that's
Have you-
that's the one you thought of. Like, why not the other
What
ones that
about
are more
the,
disgusting than that? The worst
What
one
about
that
the
I ever
whiskey made from was it sperm or?
it was made from beaver anus. Like I do
Beaver
that.
anus.
I've already
Oh.
said I drink that
Oh,
on
that's-
like just a joke.
no.
What about the yeast one?
I could do it if it was on Fear Factor. I'm going to win $25,000.
God.
And like I could absolutely do that.
That was the one that she feared the most. Was the
I saw that was
the beer
grossest
made out
one.
of the woman's vaginal?
Yeah, I
yeast.
just thought that was
the-
gross. But I would if I'm not going to just like drink
That
it.
was
For
what
fun.
all the rest of us was
But-
like. If we had to do one, that would be the one.
I wouldn't drink that for fun. Yeah, the other one was made out of stag semen.
Yeah, yeah.
But like a lot of that stuff is disgusting. The worst one that I've seen on Fear Factor is they had sausages made of living not animals. That'd be weird. Living bugs. And so you had to like eat a sausage that like is like wrapped in the sausage wrapping, and then you had to like eat it, and it had like live maggots and like live.
I could do that.
And
No.
like that was like watching it. It was pretty nasty. They do sometimes make you eat rotten stuff, which that would probably be hard too.
I can't do any of that stuff.
But once
God.
again, if it's for money,
I can't eat anything weird.
Or
I
if
can't
it's
even
for
eat. People think stuff is normal. I can't eat. Here's just a plate of green beans that grandma, or my Joe Rogan's grandma made. I'd be like, oh no, I'm out.
I mean, we're accidentally eating bugs all the time, anyways, just as it is.
Sure.
Like you like breathe them in. Like they
It's
went.
like
They had
every
a
time I
bunch
cut
of like
the grass, I'm eating a bug. I'm like, oh God.
they had like Playboy bunnies. This wasn't even like a bad one. They had for their thing. They had to like eat strawberries that were like there was gnats and flies like flying around inside a cage
Gnats
around their
around.
head. Yeah, and like
The
and they had to eat
bunnies are
the stra-
freaking out.
They had to eat the strawberries, and I'm like, that's the easiest one ever. It's like
Yeah.
like they're just flying around like there's
Oh my
gnats.
God, there's like a fruit fly.
The best Fear Factor they did was Couples Fear Factor, and it lasted for 7 weeks. And every single week, those couples had to do 3 challenges. One of the extreme ones, the food ones, and
fuck?
another extreme one. Every week for 3 weeks, and someone would get voted off every single week, but you could also win a huge prize every single week. That was the best, funniest one because it felt like a dating show because it was. You'd see these people be fucking assholes to each other. You'd see couples.
I'd
that would
love to
break
see
together.
you and Royce on that. That
Oh
would
my God, that'd be horrendous.
I'd watch. I'd tune in for sure. I'm not.
He'd be
yeah.
puking so much. He can't handle any gross
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that.
I love it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be interesting. That was the best. They did the 2 seasons of that. Best thing they ever did.
Okay.
Funniest things you could ever watch. I highly suggest watching the couples marathon thing of
Never even
Fear
heard
Factor.
of it. I had no idea that's a thing.
Incredible.
Okay, Darren, you asked the question. What's your thing?
So I think I could be top 5 in Naked or Afraid or Survivor type thing, but I think the one I can win is a wasabi eating contest.
Wasabi eating contest, huh?
Because one time I was in a wasabi eating contest, and I ate 13 tablespoons of wasabi, and there was just me and this other guy left. And so then we started,
Like on things.
they brought
or
out
just straight
jalapenos. and
wasabi.
yeah, what?
Like on thing, like with
No,
something.
just a spoon.
Just a spoon of wasabi. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
How
we
was
started putting
the
it in
challenge the
peppers,
next day?
like
How
jalapenos.
how was the challenge the next day?
It didn't. Later that night, it was raw.
Okay. Okay. There we
Because
go.
I also didn't eat dinner beforehand, so that was not a good choice.
Yeah,
But I
interesting.
won, so I think I
You
can
won.
take all of you all in this. So
Okay. Probably.
Yeah, I'd take just enough to put it on my sushi roll, and I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Fair enough. On that note, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? We're going to start with Miss Beka Sue. Miss Beka Sue, what do you got?
Starting with me. I am going to drink. Move my mic back a little bit here. I've got some MB Rollin' uncut, unfiltered, still and barrel proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is sitting at 109 proof.
Okay. Well, very good.
okay,
Very good.
time to mail it in.
Yeah, time to mail it in. I've got Planters, ABV Barrel Shop. Pick. We picked this one. This was our first one we did with Demetrius. The first barrel pick he ever did, by the way. So this is left over from that. Let's see here. Yeah, perfect. That's perfect noise to hear after that explosion that Beka just threw out there. So I feel good about that, actually. Beka has the lead. Obviously, Katie's next.
Hey, I've got some Walker's K.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Not good enough. Not good
That was
enough.
a waste of a decent pop, but okay.
It was. Way better. Like, go back to the last show. That was better than anything on the last
Right?
show. Not good enough to win here. All right, Darren, you're next.
I have some MB Rollin' uncut, unfiltered, established in 2009, still and barrel proof Kentucky straight rye whiskey from the ABV Barrel Shop.
Sold out, by the way.
Yeah, sold out, but I want to drink it. So
Okay.
nope.
Decent. You're probably your best cork pop ever.
Yeah, we heard it really
That was
well.
pretty good for Darren.
Yeah, for Darren, that was audible. So yeah, congrats on that. Last but not least is Tony. Tony, what do you got there, man?
Gonna open this new bottle. I've got a Boxing Bear Whiskey Reading Chair.
Okay.
ABV Barrel Shop Syndicate.
Nice. Oh!
Wow, I think
Is that better?
I think he did it.
Oh,
I think he stole it. Yeah.
That's pretty
I
good.
think he did.
Yeah.
I can't even. I'm not arguing. I can't.
You know
was
why?
unbelievable.
Because those bottles that was bottled and labeled with love.
Oh, Katie was part of the bottling team. Yeah.
Oh, it seems like maybe we have a little bit of some favoritism.
Insider trading here. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's all.
Wonder
There's
how
a note
they
on there
won.
to Tony. Tony, use this on the show.
Because the bottle
Sincerely,
was cleaned
Katie.
so nicely before the
Sincerely,
thing went over
Katie.
the outside so perfectly and straight. That's what really makes a good
Interesting.
cork pop.
Yeah. So, Tony, congrats on the win, man. A win's a win, buddy. Even if you
Win's
had to
a win.
choose. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about source brands and single barrels being involved in big time award ceremonies. And what do we think of that? We'll do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is also Freddie Mills going underneath the alias of Danny Kennard. You can find me on Facebook at any time. Just look up Danny Kennard, but I am Freddie Mills. Trust me.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about sourced brands winning big competitions.
Yes, we are. So the problem with that is, if there is a problem, I don't know. We'll see what the group thinks. If there is a problem, people would say, like San Francisco, best bourbon was won by a small distillery, Augusta Distillery in Kentucky. Congratulations to them. Nothing
Great
bad to say
people,
about-
by the way.
Great
Very
folks,
nice.
and they win an award. You win, you deserve the accolades that go with that. But they didn't make that whiskey, and probably at this point, I would have to imagine you can't even get it now. And because there's going to be a rush to, if they had some left over, even I don't know whether they did or not. Once the awards got announced, I'm sure it flew out the door, and then it's gone for good. And so, and that can also happen too, not necessarily with a source brand, but, when single barrels are involved and our single barrels, now, should they have their own category that they can win? Absolutely. But should a single barrel ever be, best of show? Maybe, but again, that doesn't, for consumers, it probably means you can't have it unless some has intentionally been held back. Hey, we've got a single barrel which has 220 bottles or whatever it is. We've held that back in hopes that we'll win, and then when we win, we release it to the public, and perhaps that could happen. But for the most part, it means if it's a single barrel or a source brand, it means you're probably not going to get to taste that. What do you guys think about that? Is that something that bourbon fans should even care about, or is just whatever wins? What do you guys think?
I think
Obviously, I'm just going to say, obviously, I have thoughts on this.
Right.
I guess I'd never really thought about the single barrel part. I mean, I have thought about that, but I've never thought about that as being the bigger issue of it. I don't see a problem with a single barrel winning that was created by the distillery that won with that.
Right.
Because I think you can find similar single barrels. And also, there's some one-off single barrels at some places where, for whatever reason, those stuff just doesn't taste good. And they had just a couple honey barrels, and it's like, well, I don't know, like all their stuff wasn't good except for a couple single barrels. But I think that for the most part, if people have good single barrels, their stuff should be pretty good across the board. But the
by that rationale, yes, that could be a good thing. It's say Neely wins the whole thing with a single barrel. You're like, well, obviously that single barrel's gone, but it gives you.
We have very
they
similar.
made this. They made this. Obviously, come in and taste what they've got, and they're probably making other good things as well.
Yeah.
So that's your rationale there.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And like, I do think that that does kind of suck, but also I don't think that's something that's just a blend that they always have. Like, I guess I hadn't really thought about that, Steve. So that I'm happy you
Mhm.
brought that up because I hadn't actually thought about that, the full gamut of that. But I think that single barrels should definitely be able to win a
Okay.
best whiskey because it is still just the best.
What about source brands?
I have quite a thing with this. So on the one side of it, I do support a brand sourcing barrels because it takes a while to make whiskey. And I think that, you need to have something that brings people in to taste and all those things. I don't enjoy people winning with a single barrel or with a bottle that they submitted
Right.
that was not made by them. And not only was it not made by them, but they didn't even do anything to it.
Right.
Even just cutting your bourbon that's not really, I mean, you're cutting it, but anyone could cut down about something to a different proof. Finishing is another thing and blending is another thing as well. But it just I really do have an issue with it because
I feel like
you didn't win. And why did you submit something that you didn't make?
I do feel like they should be able to submit them, but there should almost be like San Francisco should divide and say, okay, that's going to compete against its fellow source brands for a thing. And now the winners of all of that. So you
It
recently
shouldn't be that distillery that submitted it that did not purchase it. They should not be getting the gold or the double gold or best in class, whatever. I think that the sourced, the big distillery should be getting it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that it gives an issue of that you have this distillery now who has these awards, and it is hurting the brands who make their own and also win the awards because now you have a brand that just purchased it and wins the award and then puts out their other product.
What I would say, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. What I would say is there's people that can pick good barrels that have, they have a team that has good palates versus people that don't pick good barrels. And again, I'm not going to defend this, but I'm just telling you what I would believe the argument would have to be is that we pick good barrels. And that's why ours are the ones that are winning. And there's other companies that are submitting, also Barton or also MGP, and they're not winning the award that we won. I would say that's what you have to say if you are the one that wins with that.
And that's fantastic if you have a good palate. That's great. But once again, for a distillery to win off of, and this is not supposed to sound as mean as it sounds, but it's like if I cheated. It's like if I took the bar and Katie was sitting next to me and I just copied all of her answers.
Right.
And then we had to write an essay at the end, and I just was just wrote some somehow I was really good at writing the essay. And they're like, you got every single answer right. You're amazing. And then you wrote a really nice thing at the end, and we loved it. You're the best. You're the valedictorian. And then Katie was almost a valedictorian, but she wasn't because I just was better at writing out a couple words at the end of it. But I totally cheated off of Katie. It's not anything that I did. It's completely Katie's work, except for I wrote something nice at the end. And so that's why I won, and Katie didn't. I just totally stole someone else's stuff and did the best when I didn't even do my own work.
But in that example, you stole that from Katie, and that
I gave Katie $100 for it, and she said sure.
Okay,
and then I got to be the valedictorian.
Then Katie would have to live with that. I would say it's different than just stealing, but because those companies aren't stealing,
they're not stealing, and I understand that. I just think that you shouldn't submit your stuff in to a competition if you did not make it yourself. That is my only problem with source products.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but here's where it gets a little bit dicey too, because it's not as clear cut as just saying, okay, well, what about you? And you guys are a great example. You came in second place in a category, finished bourbons. Finished whiskey, I guess it should be, but I don't know if it's finished bourbon or finished whiskey. But you come in second place.
Finished bourbon at the competition. It got really weird for a second. They were like, there wasn't written on the thing. It said unfinished bourbons, and we went, holy shit, what the fuck?
So you end up losing to a company that sourced it but finished it themselves. So at the same time, you then have a whiskey that's been sourced, and so your initial thing might be, well, they shouldn't have it because they were sourced, but they did do something that increased the value of that whiskey, changed the profile of it. They finished it, and
it did taste good. I tasted it. It was good. There's no doubt that MGP made a great product.
What are your thoughts on something like that, where someone takes it and then it enhances the value, it changes the flavor profile? Would they be allowed to do it? Again, they're sourced, but they've done something different to it.
I have a little bit of a different opinion when it comes to finishing a bourbon and when it comes to blending a bourbon. I think that blending stuff is a very masterful skill, especially when it doesn't taste like the original place it came from. I think that that's a very good skill to have. Finishing is also a skill, picking out barrels that are going to be good to finish in. But once again, if you did not physically make it, I don't think that you should put, because I think that it's lying to the public.
Okay.
I think it's a blatant lie to the public.
I do believe that again, I think there should just be parallel awards. I think, and again, San Francisco could make more money. They should have, okay, this is our we're now judging the sourced brands that can win the exact same awards that the non-sourced brands can win. And then with the best in show, the best of the entire thing, I'm fine if they then put them against one another. Because to me, the best whiskey is the best whiskey. It doesn't matter if you just bought the best whiskey, you made the best whiskey, but you guys should have won the best finished bourbon. Because you made it, and I feel like maybe Doc Swenson's, who ultimately won the category, still would have won, but they would have won in the best source brands. I just feel like there should have been two winners because it's very different what happens with that. You guys invested a lot in that, making that whiskey, and it had to be a good base that you guys made. So I feel like there should be two winners, and then ultimately, the overall category winner could compete you two against one another. And if Doc Swenson wins that, they win that. That's okay by me. But there should be a separate.
I said, it's still good. There's not there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, and there's I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I just think that it is a lie to the public. I think it's because the public thinks that and now if you can always get that whiskey forever, and you can always put it out in your gift shop forever, and always distribute it forever. Then sure, but also and they're expanding, things like MGP and a lot of these places that do send out source products. They you can, some of them, I should say, things like Barton, that 13-year-old Barton is not readily, that you can't get that really anymore. Because Kirkland bought out all of it. Yeah. So you can't get that anymore. So that's something that cannot be a reproduction. But it just feels false. And so then when someone goes into their distillery and they are sweet, they clearly make some of the best stuff here. I read it all over the internet. They make the best stuff here because the general public has no idea what's happening.
Right. The general public doesn't know.
They don't know. Now, I will say that in some of the articles that I read, I did see some of them say they sourced this product from this place. And I really appreciate those articles they sourced this from this place. I think that's how every single one of those should start out, with saying this was a source brand or a source barrels that they got from wherever, so that the general public understands that fact.
But I don't think the general public reads that sort of communication. They don't read.
No.
They don't read about that kind of stuff. They just again, if you said which is better, this Neely or the Doc Swenson's, to them it's exactly the same. You could make the case that we made it. If you were having that conversation with them, that might sway them. But again, I mean, the mind of 99% of the public, that kind of stuff doesn't matter.
Also, let me make it clear, it's okay that theirs beat us. That's fine. That is they won fair and square. There's nothing wrong with
they played by the rules.
I'm not mad.
We're talking more about the contest, but we're using real world examples.
Yeah, I'm not mad that they beat us. It was delicious whiskey. There's nothing wrong with the fact that they beat us.
And Doc Swenson's, I think, is doing some good stuff. I've
got nothing against them.
We're trying to get them on the Bourbon Show right now. So we do.
I just think it's Augusta's trying to get the Bourbon Show. Doc Swenson's is in Washington.
Yeah, we're trying to get Doc Swenson's actually.
They
had reached out to us for the Bourbon Show to come on there.
Oh, from the Bourbon Show, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't reached out to Augusta at all. Though we would. I talked to them too, but I don't know.
All those guys are great. I've got no ill will towards any of them. I'm not fuck these guys. No, that's great. I think it's fantastic that what they put out won, and it was very good whiskey. I'm not trying to say it's not. I just think that it is a kind of a falsehood to the general public to think of that they're going to be getting all the time.
Right.
And maybe they will. Like I said, depends how much MJP makes or all the other places that they source from. But that's just my only thing about it.
It's what do you think about all this?
You just put in so much work with it.
I think you both have some good arguments, but I think the general public needs to be their own judge and drink their whiskey that they like themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree with that, but I just think that when it comes to an actual competition with actual distillers, it should be about what you made.
Right.
Yeah, I like
fair
Steve's
and square.
argument about separating the two, because
Yeah.
not all MGP is the same. Like
Right.
MGP never wins awards, but all their
Yeah.
independent
All the
bottlers
brands do.
do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there's blending. They could be
Finishing. Yeah.
finishing. There's other brands that source from multiple distilleries and blend together.
Yeah.
So
And I don't think that that's wrong. Like I said, I don't think that's wrong to do that. I just think that it needs to be more clear that you do that. They also did try to put in somewhat of they did a craft category, but they kind of made it almost was like nobody gave a shit about it. And
Right,
that wasn't even an award that they put out.
Yeah.
Like no one cared. And
Right.
the big brands are
Right.
going to win. And that's just,
Because there's
how
a
it
minor
goes.
league World Series as well. Who won
Yeah.
that? Who knows?
Exact-
Who cares?
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So
I just think
Nobody
that-
knows who wins that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's and
I have an idea
This
of how
is
to
just
fix
my
them.
opinion, which means absolutely nothing.
Just
at all.
join the Key West Whiskey Awards, because it's only stuff that you make is allowed in that.
Uh-huh.
Is
And,
that, is
and
that
the Radar Awards but
Radar
so my
Awards
thought
allowed
is-
source products in it? So yes.
Okay,
it's
well, anyway,
Key West Whiskey Awards.
my point that I just thought
Okay.
of while you guys were talking. So I like Steve's idea of having a different category.
Okay.
And so I think there should be a category for you make it yourself. There should be
Yeah.
a category for source, and there should be a category for single barrels. Because
Okay.
most distillers that I've met save their honey barrels for single barrels. They don't blend them into anything. They
Oh,
save
yeah.
those to be good. And then what you do is you announce the winners of all those categories,
Yes.
and you hold a bottle back from all
Right.
of the winners. And then 3 months later, you do the finals competition, and you can do a best of show from all of those categories, kind of like they do
Mhm.
now, but spread it out so that they have time to market that they won that. It will keep everyone on an equal playing field, more potentially. And then you can go do a big show and see how they do head to head.
Right. Right.
I think that would be
Okay.
really a good way of doing it.
Yeah. And by the way, they make more money off of that, because then they have another they have an event
Yeah.
tied around it, and yeah. Well,
I like that. I think, and there's another reason too, I think, for saying when they're sourced, and that I'm interested, again, the terroir of it. And so if it's a Kentucky based distillery, but they source it from somewhere else, I want to know that, because I'm interested in the terroirs of the different areas of where this whiskey is actually being made. And so there's just interest in that knowledge of where this was actually aged and made, and the water source and all of that as well, that I think is valuable. And so it doesn't have to be like you sourced this, so we want to put that stamp or information on it. But there's other valuable information that comes along with that as well.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go.
It's a touchy subject.
It is a touchy
It
subject.
Just say
And
that.
it
a
is
touchy
difficult
subject.
too. It's difficult
Everyone's going to feel different about it, and that's fine.
and
That's
it's difficult to deal with, because it gets into what is a source brand, and is it just buying the whiskey, putting in the bottle? Is it the finishing stuff, or what are we exactly talking about? So it's an interesting talk for sure, and I don't know, it'll something that'll probably never be resolved, so it'll always be an interesting talk. I think. So,
And
yeah, that's
part
what
of
we
the
do.
problem
We like
is
whiskey.
the public's knowledge isn't at the same level as all of us.
Right.
And so whiskey is whiskey that is whiskey
Yeah.
Right.
for most people.
The base
then
of
there's
it
all
is
of us nerds.
Right.
we
Right.
just
And
have
it-
to we have to enter in a better barrel next year.
And it might not.
Is
It
the
might
best
not.
thing about it.
It might not resolve
Have to
anything
try harder
either,
next year.
because it doesn't fool any of us. The people that are really into it, that listen to podcasts, they know when they know who's got the source brands and who's not, and so it doesn't matter to us. And to the general public, do you think it really matters? Like, we won, they divided in half, like this guy Steve Akeley said, and we beat all the non-sourced brands. The general public doesn't care. They just want to know you won. They do like the fact you win awards and stuff
They
like
love
that. That
that,
stuff's
of
important.
course.
Yeah, they like that. So maybe it just doesn't even matter, because it doesn't matter to the public either. They're not going to care that it's been split up, and those of us that care know anyway. So maybe we can't
Yeah.
really. Even
It
solve
really
it.
doesn't matter. Just make good stuff, put it out,
Just-
I guess. And that's.
I think we did
or
solve this.
buy
It
good
doesn't
stuff.
matter.
No,
Just
I
fuck
say
it.
literally
Yeah,
the gist
fuck
of
it.
it is
Just do whatever
it
you wanna
doesn't
do.
fucking matter. Just
make
put out
more
good stuff in
whiskey.
your gift shop. Just make sure you buy some good barrels,
Yes.
or make some good barrels, and that's just. Here's the main thing: just put some good fucking whiskey out there. So
Right.
at least, like, we got to taste the stuff. At least the stuff was good.
Right.
So at least it wasn't something that we tasted and went, "What the fuck?" No,
Okay.
it was still good. So fantastic. At least it was
Okay.
fucking good. So people can go, that's some of the best. I got a taste of it. It's fantastic. So at least the public knows what is good because they can taste it, and it is good.
It is good.
There you go.
On that note, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
Instagram at the Bourbon Adventures. Also on Mondays at the ABV Barrel Shop, a new day that we are open now that we're open 7 days a week.
Yeah. Or Tuesday or Sunday. Those are all new days for us. Yeah.
Don't spoil the next show.
Oh, sorry. You didn't hear that from me, folks. All right. Katie, how about you? Where can people
The
find
surprising other days of the 7 days a week.
you? Yes.
Hey, days are hard, okay?
You can find me over on Instagram at Katie Proof.
All right, Tony.
You can find me judging my own whiskey at Glass of Whiskey 86 on Instagram.
All right, Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. The important website, though, is abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. We put all of our previous shows, our blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us at that ABV Barrel Shop. We are now, I guess, open at least 5 days a week. We're admitting to it. We're really 7, but Darren wants to surprise you guys on future shows, so we'll see what days we're actually open. But check us out online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye-bye.
You.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.